back. As we promised, we are going to tackle together the latest developments in the Middle East, particularly in Palestine. And after the latest resolution, which was released by the UN Security Council, for the first time it mentioned a Palestinian state. And in itself, this is something which can be considered as an achievement. But let's know more about the resolution. Let's know more about its impacts on the ground. Let's know how it can be implemented. Let's know more with our prominent guest live here in the studio, Dr. Ayman Salah Mourad, Professor of International Law and member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much for being with us, sir, and a very good morning.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
Before going into details, how do you see or you evaluate the UN Security Council resolution regarding Palestine? And as I said in my intro, for the very first time, including a Palestinian state.
Actually, the Security Council in November 17th, this November 17th, adopted Resolution 2803, endorsing President Trump 20-point plan that has been issued in last September. And it tackled different points. It came in 11 points, summarized the 20-point plan in 11 points. It talked mainly about governance and security in the Gaza Strip.
Mm-hmm. And simply when it comes to the two-state solution, this was the main goal. How do you see now the two-state solution being mentioned in many occasions, in many speeches, and now we are talking about a UN Security Council? Do you think that this is an indication that the international community now recognize a Palestinian state in deeds, not in words, and they are now very much not considering, let's say, convinced that this is the only way to maintain security and stability in the Middle East region?
Actually, the importance of this resolution that it is endorsed on a U.S. plan. Mm-hmm. A lot of previous resolutions have mentioned the two-state solutions from the UN Security Council or the UN General Assembly. This time it is based on U.S. plan, and this is for the one of the very first time that in the 20-point plan of Trump, a path for Palestinian self-determination and statehood has been mentioned by the U.S., which is endorsed and adopted by the Security Council. So this is a good point and a privilege in this resolution, that it is based on American side on Palestinian statehood and Palestinian self-determination.
But we are not going to say that now it's a rosy life. Of course, there are challenges on the way to implement this on the ground and to return to calm in the Middle East region. What are the most important challenges in your vision to implement the UN Security Council resolution on the ground, sir?
Actually, this resolution has many challenges, but first we have to see this resolution in its entirety and in circumstances of bloodshed and war. The challenges mainly is the, let's say, the ambiguity of some of the terms of this resolution, lack of details, lack of the implementation details. Also, there has been some reservations on that, not stating the previous Security Council resolutions and UN resolutions and borders of 1967. But as a whole, every resolution has its privileges and has its shortcomings. So we have
pros
to see
and cons.
Yes, pros and cons. So we have to see it in its entirety. It came in the mid of bloodshed and mid of war. So this, we can say, it's a good step to build on for the reconstruction of Gaza, and it performs the path for the Palestinian Authority to take back the control of Gaza. And this resolution will be effective till December 31st, 2027. So we are, let's say, we are hopefully this is a good start that will lead to the two-state solutions.
But sir, let me put my question in other words. Do we have any guarantees that Israel, for the very first time, is going to respect a UN Security Council resolution and continue with cooperating with the international community to reach peace? Or, unfortunately, we are going to expect Israel to continue with breaching international laws and with showing disrespect to the UN Security Council and other international organizations?
Let's say that this resolution is different from other resolutions. Other resolutions used to have guarantees. This resolution has guarantors. The guarantors are the U.S., Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and the international society. So this resolution has guarantors more than guarantees. And if we look for the previous resolutions that has been issued by the United Nations, even if there are guarantees, we see always that Israel breach these agreements in somehow and make some violations. But this is
relying on the American veto.
Yes, but we rely on the international powers to implement this resolution. And this time, if we have an international stability force on the ground, hopefully containing like Indonesia and some Arab countries said that they might share, this can help stabilize situation on the ground.
Yeah. Sir, yesterday and on the sidelines of his participation in the G20 summit in Johannesburg, Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli met with UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. And in his speech also he hailed the UN Security Council resolution regarding Gaza and called or invited all the state members of the G20 to attend the early recovery and the reconstruction of Gaza conference due to be hosted by Egypt in the very near future. First, how do you see using this platform to call or to invite those countries to come and to mention this in this gathering as a renewal of Egypt's stance to support the Palestinian people? Actually,
this has been a very smart move to take advantage of such a summit. G20 summit is one of the very big summits in the world, to send an invitation for all countries of the world and the G20 to participate in the reconstruction plan for Gaza, and for financing the reconstruction plan for Gaza. And hopefully we are expecting in the near future to see a conference in Egypt for the reconstruction of Gaza, because the reconstruction is a pivot of the security in Gaza more than stability forces. Reconstruction means again that the life will come back into Gaza, and administrative and day-to-day life runs again, and this is the main core of the security in Gaza. And this will help what Egypt has always called for, refusal of any deportation or transfer of the Palestinian people. So this is the pivot and the core of the plan itself, and this is one of the big, let's say, guarantors in the plan, the reconstruction and rebuilding and rehabilitation of Gaza and the life of the Gazans people. What platform can be better than a platform which gathers the biggest 20 economies in the whole world? But what about the expected reactions, sir? Do you think that they are going to implement on the ground what they called for, to have peace and security via the reconstruction of the Palestinian occupied enclave, or this is going only to be words, not deeds? Any resolution, any agreement starts with an action and then a reaction to this action. And this action is written in words, which expresses the will of the legitimate authorities of the countries. Words do not apply themselves by themselves. Now it is the role of the international society to help put these words into reality, into fact. Egypt has played a very big role in the conflict. Egypt has been very pivotal in this conflict, in actions, not only in words. So now it is the role of the international society to put its efforts to put these words into action. Hopefully we are looking for that. And sir, also the G20 summit is for the very first time on African soil, and in South Africa. And South Africa was the first country to file an official complaint or accusation of Israel to commit crimes against humanity in the ICC. And we all, I mean the whole world, witnessed this as, let's say, a proof of what was taking place on the ground in the Palestinian territories. Do you think that this is symbolic a little bit, or this is something which really has its impact and will have its pressure on the international community? Definitely any cases that are referred to the International Court of Justice or ICC, like what happened in the Gaza conflict against a lot of Israeli officials, this gets into history and will not go away, and this is considered a pressure on these countries, and the proof that it is a pressure that Israel plead and appealed this decision by the court. So if it does not affect Israel and the Israeli officials in any way, why do they plead before the court this decision and the arrest warrants that has been issued? If it does not affect, if it means nothing, why do you plead these decisions in front of the court? So this means that it means nothing, and we have to remember something: things will not continue like this. Things change. If you are in authority today, no one knows how the extreme riot will be in Israel will be tomorrow. So things move, but this is in history and it is not closed, and it's working. And yes, Johannesburg and South Africa has been one of the first states, because they suffered from apartheid before, and they know what apartheid means. So this South Africa and other countries has played a very big role in putting this into legal terms in front of the international courts.
And here also comes the role of the UN. What do you expect from the UN in the coming period, sir?
Actually, the UN consists of states. So the will of the states, the collective will of the states, represent at the end the collective will of the UN. UN has always called for a ceasefire, has always called for humanitarian aids, UNRWA. UN has always played a big role, and it has been vetoed a lot of times, ceasefire decisions by the United States. But at the end, as we see, President Trump's plan has managed to stop the war and lead to ceasefire, and through under the umbrella of the UN, even this plan, the United States wanted the UN to endorse this plan. So it means that it gives
no,
legal...
but a UN peacekeeping force should be there. A UN peacekeeping force consisted from many countries to make sure that stability is going to be maintained there. The fast or the quick implementation of this on the ground, I mean, should we have a roadmap in the very near future, or this is something which we are going to continue arranging and preparing for that, and it's going to take time, and this is not at all going to be for the best interest, nor for the Palestinians, or the rest of the region?
Actually, what you say is one of the reservations on this resolution, that the ISF, or the International Stabilization Force, will work under the board of peace, not under the scrutiny and authority of the United Nations. And this has been mentioned in the resolution, and this one is one of the reservations. Actually, a lot of political analysts say that this is one of the reservations, but let's say this has come in the midst of bloodshed and war, so we have to support it for now. Maybe in the future we can make some change, because they say that this resolution is effective till December 31st, 2027. So it might be renewed again by new terms. Maybe the international society call for blue parades of the UN to be put on the ground instead of the International Stabilization Force. We will see how things will go.
I'm asking these questions, Dr. Ayman, really because what's going on in Gaza and the West Bank by the Israeli occupation forces is not saying at all that Israel is going to permit any of these things to happen on the ground. Because until the moment we hear and we witness ourselves more Israeli airstrikes, more martyrs falling from the Palestinian women and children, and it's not only in the West, in the Gaza Strip, but also the occupied West Bank with the illegal settlers setting even homes in blaze and attacking the Palestinian innocent people in their homes. I mean, how do you see these things taking place on the ground while the resolution already was released or issued by the UN Security Council?
Actually, let's differentiate between two things. Resolutions and international decisions give legitimacy to the work plan after this resolution. So it gives the legitimacy. Now we have the legitimacy So now it is the role of the international key players, and it's the role of the international partners to help implement this into the ground and stop Israel from any violations. So this now is the role of them. And I want to say something, even this resolution has been issued because of the international pressure of the people in all over the world, and we have seen demonstrations, and I have seen a lot of people asking their governments, how can you allow this happen in 2025 or 2024 or 2023 in this century? So now we have the legitimacy. Now we have to put these words, legitimate words that came from the UN, into the ground. This does not happen automatically. This should be happening with international pressure.
I mean, sir, don't you think that Egypt is really urging the international community to unite together and to unify efforts and to participate in the early recovery and reconstruction of Gaza? Because when we do have the whole world participating in the early recovery of Gaza and the reconstruction of Gaza, Israel or the Israeli forces are not going to attack them. I mean, they are not going to attack those who are going to be responsible for this on the ground from other nationalities, or they are going to be hostile to the whole world and to be accountable for criminal deeds against civilians. Don't you think that this is the only way to end the Israeli violations on the ground?
True, and the existing of international force from different nations and different countries on the ground in Gaza, it's a privilege that it will prevent Israel from doing any hostilities against international society, because it will consist of international troops from different parts of the way. So this is a good point we have to put in our consideration. And I want to say something, Egypt and Jordan refusal for deportation and the transfer of Palestinians has been the real action and pivot that turned this situation from an attempt to transfer the Palestinians to try to manage things while Gazans are on their lands. So on the ground, we have the Gazans on the ground, we have international forces, and even the resolution said that the Palestinian Authority will take control of Gaza, although it's conditional or subject to reforms of the Palestinian Authority according to peace plan of President Trump in 2020 and the Saudi and the French proposal. But let's say that now we have legitimacy, we have words, we will have international forces on the ground. Hopefully this can help to implement this
We have
resolution.
hope that the Palestinians are going to decide for themselves.
Exactly.
Yes, and since you mentioned Egypt and Jordan and the full refusal of any displacement of the Palestinian people outside their land, because this was to liquidate the Palestinian cause or to end it forever. Also, in fact, on all levels, and here President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi first, then Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa al-Madbouli, and last but not least on the diplomatic level, also on the sidelines of our participation in the G20 summit in Johannesburg, Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati held a number of meetings with top executives and with his counterparts from all over the world, of course discussing bilateral relations, but also mentioning the Palestinian cause, and also mentioning the early recovery and reconstruction conference due to be hosted by Cairo. How do you see our moves on all levels, sir?
Actually, Egypt has always moved on all arenas. It uses all arenas and all platforms to raise the Palestinian cause, whether in the UN, whether in the summits, as we see the G20 summit. President Sisi has always talked about the Palestinian cause in all platforms, and Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has called for the reconstruction conference, and Minister Badr Abdel Ati made a lot of side meetings, even with the Spanish Prime Minister. So all these efforts always make the people aware and alert of the Palestinian cause, because Palestine is part of the Egyptian national security, and it has been and it will always be, and Egypt will never give up on this cause until we have two-state solutions on the border of 4th of June 1967, according to the UN resolutions and all other resolutions.
Even, sir, some analysts were saying that Egypt is going to remain the voice of the region. I mean, the voice of Palestine in international communities, and now the voice of Sudan in the international arenas and international forums and platforms, you name it. How do you see, sir, the Egyptian keenness to maintain stability and security in the Middle East in all states? And I mean here, we all call for supporting the national institutions, for the sovereignty of each country, for the territorial integrity of each country, to make sure that this is the only way to maintain peace.
Exactly. Egypt is the heart of the world, geographically and historically.
Yeah.
And if we look even for the resolution, this resolution, when they talk about the international stabilization force, it is mentioned that it must be done in coordination and cooperation between Egypt and Israel, to coordinate the work of the international stabilization. So Egypt has been always a key player in this conditions, and all over the world always has been the heart of the world in politics and in history and geography.
Yeah. Sir, one final question regarding the coming period. I mean, if we are going to have priorities, is it going to be first the access of humanitarian aid? Is it going to be the ISF? Is it going to be the conference which is going to be held in Cairo? I mean, we should have steps in all roads at the very same time, or the access is a first priority? The access of humanitarian aid is a first priority, in your opinion? As
access of humanitarian aid, of course, because it will help Gazans stay on their land, and this is the core issue of the cause, that the Palestinians and Gazans stay on their land. So yes, the humanitarian aid is first, and then it comes the stability force and the reconstruction. Both will play an important role in stabilizing and maintaining the ceasefire. We have to maintain the ceasefire. This is a very important point now, because we have seen some violations, maybe
on daily basis, unfortunately.
Yes, on daily basis violations, yes.
Well, we were very much delighted and honored to have with us live here in the studio our prominent guest, Dr. Ayman Salah Mourad, Professor of International Law and member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much for your input, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more, so stay tuned.